Welcome, everyone. How wonderful to be together across this evolving world. We are one mountain, many paths, where our mission is what Barbara Marx Hubbard and Dr. Mark Goffney call the planetary awakening in love through unique self symphony. We are activating a new humanity, and we are awakening as a new species, Homo Amor, the fulfillment of Homo sapien. We are a church, a synagogue, a mosque, a temple, a zendo. We are all of it. No one is excluded, everyone is included, and we come together to attune to the evolutionary impulse awakening within us. I am Christina Tahel, the co-executive producer, along with Krista Josepha, Jamie Long, and Jacqueline Clark, and we are so delighted to be with each and every one of you today for week 263 of our live broadcast. What a privilege it is to be part of this global community where we are contributing to humanity's flourishing. Join the twice monthly Thursday Dharma Circle with cutting edge Dharma talks with Dr. Mark Goffney and intimate practice sessions with Shahat Corden and Claire Molinar to complement the teachings. And I can testify that those intimate circles are wonderful. We did one of them this last Thursday, and you don't want to miss it. The Dharma Circle is a holy study of the Dharma of unique self, outrageous love, Homo Amor, the universal love story, first principles and first values, and other core topics from Dr. Mark's cosmo-erotic humanism teachings. To learn more, reach out to Shahat, whose email is in the chat box right now. A lot of the main teachings from One Mountain, Many Path are also in books by Dr. Mark Goffney and by Barbara Marx Hubbard. On our resource page on our website, you will find these books for One Mountain, like Your Unique Self, The Radical Path to Personal Enlightenment, which deepens the astonishing mystery and awakens you to the unique soul-making beauty of your unique path. Ready to receive mystical gifts and step further into the new universe story? We are looking for transcribers, editors, and translators. We give a shout out to Becca for taking on a little job this week and for being a wondrous part of this community. To get involved, reach out to Krista Josepha for the holy opportunities. Use the Zoom or Facebook chat function to say hello, to let us know where you're from, and to resonate the Dharma. On Zoom, make sure that your chat settings say everyone so we can all hear from you. Sign up for and read our weekly emails. There you find our replays, our community activities, our feature videos, volunteer opportunities, celebrations, and surprise and inspiration. Now, for what to expect from today. We begin with a recap from myself from last week's One Mountain, Many Paths. Then Dr. Mark Goffney sets our intention. Then Krista invites us into community. Then David resonates our evolutionary love code. Then we move into our evolutionary sermon with Dr. Mark, and often with a piece from Barbara Marx Hubbard. Then today we will hear from Claire about the Dharma Circle, and to close, Krista will invite us to commit our outrageous acts of love. At the end, we will bring everyone on for a little dance party and to say goodbye. Mark writes evolutionary love codes. Mark and Barbara studied the codes together, comparing them with Barbara's own 52 codes for conscious self-evolution. These codes grow out of radical commitment, crystallizing the new story of humanity, quote, evolving the course of consciousness and culture, which is the source code of love, unquote. We have the privilege of front row seats in the emergence of these first principles and first values. As Dr. Mark Goffney often says, the Dharma gates are open. Every week, we are blessed with an explosion of brilliant new Dharma to serve each other and the evolution of love the very best way we can. Our commitment is to the quality of what we are communicating, and for each of us to take part in this creative process of articulating a new story for a new humanity. Due to this, we have consciously decided that to forcefully try and end at exactly a certain time won't serve the evolutionary process we are in. Instead, we're making a promise for what we call fullness and explosion, to let magic evolve. So even though we will do our best to end at 11 Pacific time, sometimes we may go over. Of course, if you need to leave at a certain time, please do and listen to the replay. I especially welcome anyone who is new today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Know that each of our gatherings here is a standalone, and every week builds on the week before. One Mountain, Many Paths is radically committed to telling the new universe story. So here goes my recap from last week. The right to desire. Human beings experience themselves with a profound need to be desired. This need to be desired is inherent at every level of reality. Desire is the nature of reality itself. Desire is the first principle of reality. You know of your need to be desired. You know it inside of you. Let's reclaim the divinity of desire. Understand that desire is love in the body, and that needs create rights. If I have a need for food and air, then I have a right to food and air. If I have a fundamental need for unique expression, then I have a right to unique expression. We have a need to be desired, touched physically, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, and existentially. We have a need to feel the cosmic eros performed in our flesh. We have a need to be loved open. We have a need for an intimate world. There is a global intimacy disorder. This brings us to existential risk. There's radical dissociation between the different parts of the world, whether it's the embodied earth, the biosphere, the different value systems, the different parts of the world, or the impact of financial instruments. And we are not aware of the cascading effects of our participation. Let's meet each other in the raw dignity of desire, where all desire lives in the context of ethos that serves the larger field of desire, where there's a shared story of every human being as an expression of value, where every human being participates in cosmos. This doesn't mean that desire between subatomic particles looks like desire between human beings. There is continuity and discontinuity. There's evolution of uniqueness, complexity, intimacy, and interconnectivity. These are plot lines of the cosmos. Our goal is to live full lives, dripping with eros, tumescent with aliveness and ethos, gifting the best of ourselves for the sake of the whole, even as we understand that the whole lives in us. There is no local desire. All desire lives in the field of desire. Every muon, every hadron, every lepton comes together as molecules, and molecules come together as macromolecules, and macromolecules come together as cells. Cells that responded to the oxygen crisis that are now in humanity. All of the desires of reality shimmer in us. Conscious evolution. We want to be more. Reality always imagines new possibilities. What would it mean if every human being in reality experienced the full dignity of their own desire? What would it mean if every human being knew they were desired, not just by one person? What if every human being knew they were desired by reality itself? With that, I invite us to more deeply enter into the holy and sacred space of One Mountain, Many Paths. And I turn my word to you, Dr. Mark Offney.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Was that a insanely gorgeous Dharma recapitulation? It was. So let's just all give a big thanks to Haley. Oh my God. Yay. Right? Right? Like fantastic, right? And friends, don't take anything for granted, right? Take nothing for granted. Like every week we are here, and our intention is, in this time between stories, in this time between worlds, to participate in the evolution of love. We are erotic mystics, and by erotic we mean not only, right, and not particularly, right, a particular expression of eros, which is the sexual. By erotic we mean that which is underneath the sexual, the eros that drives all of reality. You can be radically erotic and celibate, right? Or you can be having sex all the time and be completely non-erotic. We're talking about eros. An erotic mystic is one who understands that my eros, my desire, is the desire of evolution. Is the eros of evolution awake and alive in me? An erotic mystic understands that we are evolution awakening to itself uniquely in us. My beloved homemate and friend and partner who I miss dearly, evolutionary partner, was very close friends with my partner, Dr. Christina Kincaid, and I, right? And with many of you, Barbara Marx Hubbard. When Barbara and I sat together right before she died, right, in Portland, and we drew the Wheel of Co-Creation 2.0 on a napkin, and we up-leveled, Barbara had originally done something called the Wheel of Creation, and we're going to be talking about that a lot this year, later in the year. And then Barbara and I created a new wheel called Wheel 2.0, right? And one of the major shifts we made is that at the very center of this wheel, which is a diagram of reality itself, it's a Zen diagram, a Venn diagram, if you will, of reality. The very center of the wheel, we placed desire. But not surface desire, but your deepest heart's desire, okay? Because your deepest heart's desire, my deepest heart's desire, friends, beloveds, right? My deepest heart's desire is the desire of the evolutionary impulse itself, awake and alive in me. So at this moment between worlds, this time between worlds, this time between stories, when we're confronted with existential risk and catastrophic risk, when we're confronted with pandemic, we're confronted with a kind of fundamental instability, we have to actually begin to find home again and create a new home. And that home comes from the realization of a new story a new story that integrates the best of pre-modern, modern, and postmodern, the best validated insights of pre-modern wisdom, modern wisdom, and postmodern wisdom integrated in a new story, a greater whole, a new story of value rooted in first principles and first values. Like, wow, right? That's the only way I can come home. And that births a new narrative of identity, a new story of who I am. Who am I? I am the personal face of the evolutionary impulse. I'm a unique configuration of the desire that drives all reality. I'm a unique quality of intimacy. Who am I? I'm God's unique intimacy. I'm God's unique desire. Wow. Not as a slogan, right? Not as a declaration, but an actual lived realization of the nature of who I am. Because that's what enlightenment means, and we need to democratize enlightenment, right? Of course, there's levels of attainment, but enlightenment's must be a genuine option for every human being. Because it's only from that place of this new identity in which I actually realize that I'm God's unique intimacy. I'm God's unique desire. I'm a unique configuration of intimacy and desire. I'm a unique expression of the evolutionary impulse. I'm taking my place in the unique self symphony that I can actually begin to act for the sake of the whole and realize that the whole lives in me, right? And actually be omni-considerate of the whole and begin to actually heal, right? The horrifically fractured cosmos, lost in a devastating global intimacy disorder, which is the root cause for all of the generator functions of existential risk. So wow. And one first value and one first principle of cosmos is desire. Desire is not just political. That's what we talked about last week. And last week we looked at my colleague. We both did our DPhils at Oxford. My colleague Amia, right, who wrote her book on the right to sex. But as we said last week, the point of the book is that there is no right to sex. There is no right to desire. And of course, when she talks about it, she's talking about something very limited. She caricatures. She sets up a straw man and kills it and says there's no right to desire in the sense of I have a right to desire you or to have sex with you. No, it's never specific. It's not, of course not. Of course that's not true. But there's a general, meta, essential personal right to desire and to be desired. And it's not just political. It's not, right? Underneath politics is something deeper. And that which is deeper is the first principles and first values that politics emerges from. Now imagine, friends, just for a second, as we set our intention this week, that every human being in the world had the radical joy of being desired. It's a fundamental human need. And it's a fundamental human right. To desire and to be desired. But not simply surface desire. Clarified desire. To actually desire your deepest heart's desire. Right? Like, wow. To desire my deepest heart's desire. That's what it means, right? To actually wake up as evolution, as conscious evolution. Oh my God. Okay, Krista, take us the next step. We have a huge week this week. I just deep devotion to everyone, right? It's so good to be together. We take nothing for granted. This is the revolution. We're here to evolve the source code, which is the moral imperative of this generation. Oh my God. Krista, take us inside. Yay.
Thank you, Mark. I want to begin by sharing a story because we are here as a band of outrageous lovers, committing our outrageous acts of love in the world and sharing the stories of those acts that are being committed. So this morning I was with a few friends here in Holland talking about how to bring this Dharma of outrageous love into Holland. And we're talking about translating things into Dutch and all very exciting projects. But the story I want to share with you is of Ineke, who goes to Africa every year together with her partner, Paul. And she was sharing how in the midst there of outrageous pain of children living in poverty, of diseases, of people not having the opportunity to live their unique selves. And she goes there and she shares with them a meditation, an audio of Mark Goffney speaking about the Dharma, speaking, the world is full of outrageous pain and the only answer is outrageous love. And I could just imagine those children being there and receiving not only these words, but actually the transmission of outrageous love through Ineke going into her unique corner of the world and the way she and Paul are loving it open there. And I could just feel the impact that we are having here at One Mountain, that we are receiving the story, this new story for a new humanity, and how each and every one of us is needed to carry the torch and bring it out into the world wherever we feel that we need to go, and whatever our unique contribution is that we feel that we need to make. So I just want to ask all of us to feel what your unique contribution is, because there is a part here for you to love open that only you can love open. And in that sense, I want to invite all of us to listen for a moment to Barbara Marx Hubbard's invitation, because she, of course, as we all know, is the co-founder of this gorgeous revolution together with Mark Goffney. So I just want to hear her voice and her invitation for all of us.
And I want everybody to know that it is God's heart's desire as you, that you and I and we offer into this greatest contributions that we can make, because every contribution is going to fund more of humans like ourselves declaring and acting upon God's heart's desire. Now that is a good reason. So please, everybody, give your gift, bring in partners to bring their gift, and let's make this church reach unto the world with God's heart's desire.
Thank you so much, Barbara, for that beautiful invitation. Let's make outrageous love reach onto every corner of the world. And the way that we do that is by becoming a member of One Mountain and supporting this revolution with our full hearts as a member. And it's beautiful to be a member because you get to participate in this outrageous love community, and you get access to all the study groups, the writing groups. You get access to 9 beautiful courses where you can learn and study and receive the transmission of this Dharma. So what you do to become a member is you go to our website, onemountainmanypaths.org, and if you click here on the membership page, that's where you can read all about membership. If you scroll all the way down, you will find these courses: Awakening Your Unique Self, Loving Your Way to Enlightenment, Becoming a Future Human. This is a course actually together with Barbara Marx Hubbard and Mark Goffney. So this is an amazing opportunity to study the Dharma, to become the Dharma, and then to become an actor of the Dharma and share it with your friends.
Thank you, Dr. Mark. Thank you, Krista. Hello, everyone. So as we have this new code that's been reconfigured from previous codes and with some additions this week. And so as I resonate the code, this is when we actually feel the code in our very bodies, in our hearts. So I want to invite everyone to recall an experience of when we felt awakened. We felt an awakening. We experienced our small self dissolve for a moment and feeling this larger sense of reality holding us. Maybe when our hearts have kind of broken open and experienced the outrageous pain into the outrageous love, as Krista was describing Ineke and Paul's experience. Or maybe when we just felt a higher sense of consciousness, something larger. So go into that experience and actually recall what that felt like as I resonate this code. We're born awake. We fall asleep. This is the intention of Cosmos. The purpose of reality is to wake up, but that is not enough. I must wake up, grow up, and show up. Wake up means an expanded state of consciousness in which I realize my true nature, your true nature, and the true nature of all of reality. Waking up, however, is somewhat like feminine values or God. They don't take you home. Now, that's a provocative but crucial sentence, to explain, waking up is mediated through the prism of growing up. We have to wake up, we have to find God, and we have to integrate feminine values at the higher levels of consciousness. That's what takes us home. And only then, after waking up and growing up, can I realize that the purpose of my life is to show up as my unique self and participate in the unique self symphony. And with that, I turn my word back to you, beloved Dr. Mark.
Thank you, David. That's a huge code. This code is actually, if there's a single code that can change the world, it's this one, and we're going to talk about it today. But now, just to prepare, to be ready, to find ourselves, to go one step deeper, we reach beyond. And we actually realize that we're not the only actors. We're not alone on the stage. That we're always being carried and we're always being held. We recognize the gorgeousness and elegance and dazzling beauty of the third person of reality that flows through cosmos. And my friend and, colleague, friend as in a kind of spiritual friend, we're doing the same work. We've only exchanged, a few emails. But Brian Swim talks beautifully about the third person, right? Of the divine, of goodness that flows through cosmos, as does his teacher Thomas Berry or Mary Evelyn Tucker. People are working on the universe story. And then we have our Buddhist friends, and I myself have been honored to do a lot of teaching of that nature, although not through the Buddhist prism, through the interior sciences of Western mysticism, which is first person, right? She lives in me, right? She lives in me. But at the core is second person. And second person means that not only does she live in me, not only does she flow through reality and all the laws, expressed, manifest in all the laws and manifestation of physics and the four forces and all the fields, but actually she's holding us in her arm and she's saying, "You're my baby," right? There's something unbelievably gorgeous when someone looks at you and says, "You're my baby," right? It doesn't matter how old we are. "You're my baby. Hey, baby," right? "You're my friend," right? "I love you madly. I'm holding you." Wherever you fall into my hands. That's not a dogma. That's a realization. And to know the difference between the two is everything. Let's just close our eyes for a second. Let's close our eyes for a second. And let's feel into the second person, the personhood of cosmos, which is not a dogma, but a realization. God or divinity. And remember, the God you don't believe in doesn't exist. Not that God, not the caricature God, not the cosmic vending machine God. The God who is both the incessant creativity of cosmos, the God who's Tattvam Ase, who lives in you, as you, and through you, and the God who knows your name, who holds you. God who's the beloved. And let's just feel it together. When I ask you, "Do you hear my voice?" You say yes. Then I ask you, what in you hears my voice? And you say, "Well, my ears." And I say, "Well, it's not just your ears. Ears are physical apparatus. What animates your ears? There's an intelligence, a consciousness. So your intelligence and consciousness hears me talk." Now, I know you're a fantastic person, and I know you're really smart and intelligent and really conscious, but just between you and me, are you the most intelligent person in the whole state, in the whole country, in the whole world? Probably not. So if your intelligence hears me, could it be that your intelligence is the only intelligence that hears me? Wow. Is it true that your intelligence is just you? Is your intelligence separate from the larger field of intelligence? Is your consciousness separate from the larger field of consciousness? If you can hear me talking, is it possible that the field of intelligence and consciousness can't hear me talking? Of course not. So just like you hear me, and just like I hear you, the field of intelligence and consciousness from which neither you or I are in any way separate, hears me. And that's the experience of prayer. Prayer means that no words are lost. Prayer means that no one dies alone. Prayer means that we may live lives sometimes of quiet desperation, but we're never ultimately lonely because we're never alone. We're always held and we always fall into her arms. And she is the infinity of intimacy that knows our name and holds our holy and broken hallelujah. And every week we practice this, not as information, but as Dogen said when asked by his students, why do you meditate? That's what Buddhists do. I meditate like I breathe. Right? I realize personhood. I say I love you and you love me because that's the actual act of realization. It's the act of being alive. Right? To be loved and to love is self-evidently meaningful. It needs no other justification. So every week we realize again that we both participate in it and we're held by the infinity of intimacy that knows our name. And it doesn't matter whether you call that infinity of intimacy Mat or Geist or the implicate order or Christ or the Buddha field. It doesn't matter. Or any of the names of the Hindu goddesses Lakshmi or Kali, right? Shiva or Shakti, Sita or Rama. It doesn't matter whether it's earth or sky. It's the personhood of cosmos. More intimate, closer to you, caring, desperately, mad, tenderly, desiring you in every second. And we offer before, on the altar before she, you who's holding us right now, our holy and our broken hallelujah. So as we go into the hymn, if you will, if we go into the chant, let's stay with Leonard. Right? Don't look at your text, don't do something else. We do it anew every week and offer up our holy and our broken hallelujah. Then we're going to come and meet in the chat box and pray. Then we're going to dive into the code this week like we never have before. With her grace, take us inside the holy and the broken hallelujah.
Now I've heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah.
Together! The chat box, we find each other.
You say I took the name in vain. I don't even know the name. But if I did, well really, what's it to you? There's a blaze of light in every word. It doesn't matter which you heard, the holy or the broken. Hallelujah. wasn't much I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I've told the truth, I didn't come to fool you. And even though it all went wrong, I'll stand before the Lord of Song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah.
And we find each other in the chat box, friends. We find each other in the chat box and we ask for everything. We bring our holy and our broken hallelujah and we ask for everything. And I'll read some of them out loud as we do every week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We ask for everything. Vashti, I pray the words of one mountain blaze a path that light the way for all who search for love and truth. Yes, and with all our partners around the world, everyone. Becca, I pray that the circle of critters and enlightened beings of the earth celebrate joy, compassion, voice, and kinship, right? Let it be so. Timothy Paul Arye, praying to always keep waking up to the blaze of light, growing up and showing up. Thank you, Timothy. And every text you write matters so much. Rob, I pray that the song we sing is the song of God, nothing else. Terry, I pray that my brother Warren and sister-in-law Mary feel held and loved as they go through their health crisis. Ujas, right? Amen. Terry. Right, I pray I wake up deeper and deeper, grow up more conscious every day. Shanti, I pray to be fully allowed to live my life all the way. I like to enjoy it. Outrageous love, desire, and joy. Right, amen. Right, amen. Jacqueline, Lady J, I pray for all of us to evolve to higher consciousness for the sake of reality. Zohar, I pray for my heart to be healed and for everyone to be healed in all ways. Ronaine, right, I pray that my yearning for you, right, and your yearning for me be realized in fierce love and ecstasy. Derek, welcome, Derek. Right, welcome, oh my God, I pray for grace. Grace floats desire, purity through broken attempts, right, amen. Joseph, I pray for a simple personal need, a relief of my headache. Please, God, thank you. I pray to choose outrageous love. Jamie, Oriana, we worship at your altar. When Oriana's here, we're all here. Oriana, I pray to open, right, to the intelligence of love, right, oh my God, and the names of God, Oriana, right, Oots, I pray that all pitch in for truth. Right? Oh my God, for connections in this movement of love. Renee, so thankful for feeling this love every Sunday. Right? Surrounded. Inaka, right? I pray for all the broken people, right? And all the broken hearts and all the broken bodies and all continents that they feel their hallelujah and we bring together, right? All of the prayers, right? And we lift them literally, right? Into and impress them on the lips of the divine. Oh my God. Are you ready, friends? We've got a big code this week and I want to finish at least close to on time. Okay, and this is so important. And we're here not just to study. We're here to be in the revolution, to actually participate directly together, right, in evolving the source code, right? Mosa, it's so good to see you. Oh my God, Mosa, right? Yay, right, like wow, right? Rachel, Tina, right? Suzette, right? Chija, right? Oh my God. Chia, not Gija, right? Chia, right? Okay, yay. Oh my God. Let's look at the code. Are we ready? Who's ready? We're gonna go all the way? Like all the way. Here's the code, okay? Right? Well, maybe someone will put the code, there we go. Right? Oh my God, big yes. Here we go, here's the code. We're born awake and we fall asleep, right? We're born awake and we fall asleep, right? This is the intention of Cosmos. It's not a mistake that we fall away, and we never actually fall away, but we experience ourselves as falling asleep. The purpose of reality is to wake up. It's not enough to wake up. I got to wake up, and wake up means an expanded state of consciousness, right? So a state is like a drunken state. It comes, it's there, and then it's gone. Or a psychedelic state, right? Or a state of rage, or a mystical state. A state is a realization, a focused realization, where I'm completely inside something and I experience it fully, and then it's gone. So in a wake-up state, I actually realize my true nature and the true nature of reality. But that's not enough, right? A wake-up state won't take you home. And we say in the code, right, neither waking up nor feminine values, which everyone says we need more feminine values. Feminine values will get you nowhere. Just like waking up will get you nowhere, just like God will get you nowhere. Because waking up is insufficient. Your state of waking up has to be mediated through the prism of growing up. That's what we're going to talk about today, right? And it's a very, very deep idea that was core to the interior sciences of Hebrew wisdom. It's a core notion that you can have a prophetic experience, right? You're completely blown open, but your experience of being blown open to the true nature of reality is mediated through a prism of your psychological maturity, right? Through a prism of your socio-cultural experience. And we now understand even more deeply, right, through the prism of your level of consciousness, okay? That's a big deal, right? So let's say you could have feminine values, right, but you have a low level of consciousness. So you are a mother who raises her children to fight for the Taliban. Like, wow. You could be a mother who raises your children to join Hitler Youth. And you've got these feminine values, right? You're nurturing, you're caring, you're empathetic, right? But your caring, your nurture, your empathy is at an ethnocentric level. It's us, them. It's we're inside, they're outside, and you're contributing to evil. So you don't need feminine values. It's not about God, right? It's not about waking up. It's about at what level of consciousness, or let's call it what level of growing up, right? At what level of growing up does your wake up happen? At what level of growing up do you experience God? At what level of growing up do you experience feminine values? Okay, now stay close, okay? I want to tell you something wild. And this is, there's two conversations. One that I had last night, which was a really important conversation I had last night with someone who's just enormously precious to me, right? As a human being, a dear, dear close friend. And I had another conversation a few days ago with another person who's just close to me in a different way, a different relationship, a fantastic human being who I love dearly, right? And it was actually that the first, the second one I just described was a Holy of Holies session. And with his permission, I'm gonna share a little bit about what we talked about, and I'm gonna actually reflect on this conversation I had last night, okay? And I want to do it in the following context. So it's gonna be funny, but it's wildly important and wildly beautiful. But let's start with funny, okay? So last week, someone wrote me and said, "Wow, why is Krista?" And this week it was Barbara Marks Hubbard, talking about people. Let's pour resources and funds and become a member right into One Mountain, right? I come here for like this deep transmission, spirituality, love. Why are we asking for money, right? Why are we asking people to become members, right? That's right, such a turnoff. So I got an email like that, and I get one every once in a while. So this is really important. So let's go deep together. We got to go really deep together, and you saw how beautifully Barbara Marks Hubbard, together with Krista, invited people to become members this week, just so gorgeously. But I want to find this, okay? So let's play. Who's ready to play? Because we got to go really deep, because we can't make this revolution. We can't be at this time between worlds and time between stories and participate in the evolution of the source code, which is the evolution of culture and consciousness, without understanding this mystery of we got to wake up. My wake up is mediated through the prism of my grow up, and only then can I show up as my unique self, as we wrote in the code, and participate in the Unique Self Symphony. So I want to talk specifically about this email I got, about this Holy of Holies I had, where a very dear close person said, what should I do next? right? You know, am I done, right? What's my next step, right? What do I need? And then my conversation last night, okay? So I want to ask you a funny question, okay? Ready to play? Let's play. Who's ready to play? Let's just totally play together, okay? Let's just totally play together, okay? Here we go. Okay, let's play it. So I have a friend who is a minister of a Catholic church in Harlem, right? A parish in Harlem. And, you know, my friend is, just between us, not a really good minister, right? So he got fired, and then, you know, they hired someone else and wasn't such a good minister. And this is about 20 years ago, and they've hired someone else, and the leadership just really actually wasn't great. And there were all sorts of financial challenges, but people kept supporting the parish. And I loved the parish. I used to go there 20 years ago, and I actually asked, right, beloved Christina, who's in New York now, to go by and see the parish in Harlem. And, you know, she told me yesterday, there it is, thriving, right? This parish is thriving. So let me ask you a question. Why is that parish thriving? Why are people supporting this Catholic parish, you know, where with lousy ministers, I mean, nice people, but lousy ministers, bad leadership, and yet it keeps going on, and someone new comes and they pick it up and they pick up the baton. Why is that happening? Okay, so stay close with me, okay? Now, in the New Age world, we're afraid of words like devotion, sacrifice, commitment, loyalty, sincerity, right? Loyalty, sincerity, devotion, sacrifice, those are scary words. Those are words that have to do with them. We're free, autonomous, right? Independent. Which is why the New Age world doesn't actually, in the human potential world, doesn't actually create structures of radical commitment that stay in and that build and that have the capacity to evolve the source code of culture and consciousness. Because people at that level of consciousness where kind of human potential and New Age lives, right, are somewhat narcissistically absorbed in their own journey. This is my hero's journey. This is my story. And how does this serve me right now? And how is this addressing my needs right now? Now, those are all important. Those are important emergent levels of consciousness. Those are all really good questions. But they're dissociated from a larger field. And they don't actually make space for devotion and for loyalty and for God, right? And for sacrifice and for commitment. Now, but stay close. But none of those words, those are all wake-up words. I wake up to this experience of devotion. I wake up to this experience of loyalty as a core structure of cosmos. I wake up to an experience of reverence, right? I wake up, right? And I feel my sincerity. All those experiences, all those qualities, right? All those qualities, those states that I can be in, right? All of those are mediated through a level of consciousness, okay? So there's no such thing as devotion. There's no such thing as feminine values. There's no such thing as God. There's no such thing as commitment. There's no such thing as sacrifice. There's no such thing as reverence. There's no such thing as loyalty. There's loyalty at a particular level of consciousness. There's love. There's no such thing as love. There's love at a particular level of consciousness. Right? There's devotion at a particular level of consciousness. So let's walk through this, okay? And this is what my friend and I talked about a couple of days ago, and it's really crazy beautiful, okay? So let's take Clare Graves. Clare Graves is a colleague of Abraham Maslow, and he's one of the really important developmentalists. His student, Don Beck, who's a friend of mine and a wonderful human being. I'm honored to have Don as a friend, right? And, Don actually took Clare Graves' work and created a contemporary system called spiral dynamics, which is a quite well-known system. My dear friend Ken Wilber actually popularized the system. But I'm going to go back to Clare Graves, right, who talks about his system as a biophysical cultural system. And he talks about 6 levels, kind of from Graves level 1 all the way to Graves level 6. So we're going to do this thing really wild now for a second, okay? We're going to do like all 6 Grave levels, right? Tom, you and I did this for the first time in a different way 10 years ago in 2010, right? I remember, Christina, when we did this together, right? It's like wild, right? This is core, right, to the Unique Self work of the Unique Self Institute that Claire's working on. It's core to, right, to everything that's happening. But let's just, I'm going to run through this, but in a really beautiful way, and we're going to see why this matters. It matters completely. It changes everything. Okay, so Graves level 1. And later they attached, Chris Cowan, Don Beck, students of Claire Graves, they attach colors to these levels. So I'm going to use their colors, okay? So Graves level 1 is beige. Let's make this up spontaneously, okay? Not spiral dynamics, right? Claire Graves, right? I'm doing, right, spiral dynamics. Graves level 1. Graves level 1 is beige. And let's assign a movie to each one, just for the heck of it. We'll make it up as we go. The clan of the Cave Bears. So it's a very small clan. Your goal is survival. Of course, there's spirit and there's dimensions of religion and there's value, but it's a very closed, insular circle, right? And the major goal, right, is survival, right? There's a more limited sense of time, right? Because we're actually concerned with survival, and that's our focus. And that's kind of the first level, right? And so there's depth, there's nuance, right? There's lots of beauty, but the fundamental thrust is the survival of the clan, right? And it's a very, very small clan, right? It's, 150 people or less, right? Usually less than what's called the Dunbar number, right? Robin Dunbar, the British anthropologist, right? It's less than 150. So it's close, it's intimate, it's focused on survival, right? It's completely related to the immediate experience of people with each other, right? Everyone knows each other, right? Values, ethics are completely immediate in their interpersonal nature, okay? That's beige. Clan of the Cave Bears. Next level up, purple. Graves level 2. Purple is tribal, right? Its tribe is much bigger than the Dunbar number. You're connected to the tribe through bloodlines, right? Do you have the right blood or do you not have the right blood? If you have the right blood, you're in, right? There's a lot of magic and ritual and shamanism, right? And perhaps prayer, right? And the goal is the tribe. It's a local goal. The tribe is not universal. The tribe is from that mountain, right, to, that river. The shaman is responsible in a way that he received perhaps from his father for that area. We propitiate the gods, right, to help us. The values are the values of the tribe. Loyalty to the tribe is paramount, right? And knowing the magical arts, right, that actually bring about healing and victory, right, is essential. That's the tribe, right? And at the level of tribe, we begin to move from hunter-gatherer, right? Hunter-gatherer is more beige, right? But then we move gradually from hunter-gatherer, right, into tribal. Now hunter-gatherers are also tribe, but tribe then also allows for farming. And the tribe farms, right? The tribe moves into agriculture. The tribe gets a larger sense of time. And that's purple. That's purple. Now, stay close. Stay close. After purple, we get to red. And red is straight power, right? Thrasymachus in Plato's Republic, right? Might makes right, right? It's the drive for power. It's not just about the tribe. It's not just about loyalty to the tribe. It's not just about the survival in the clan, right? But it's actually the value of power itself. It's this drive to power. Attila the Hun is not just about the Huns, he's about power. And it's this raw power drive, right, that actually moves in cosmos underneath lots of other disguises. So you've moved from purple to red, which is this conquest, right, in power. And then you get to, that's Graves level 3. Then you get to Graves level 4. And Graves level 4 is blue, right? Blue, right? Stay close. Stay close, blue. And blue is mythic membership. The Catholic Church, the Holy Roman Empire. This is a whole new level of consciousness in which it's not about the bloodlines of the tribe. It's not about the loyalty to the 150 people at Graves Level 1 at beige. It's not purple, right, which is loyalty to the tribe and the bloodlines. It's not red, which is the power drive, right? It's actually blue, which is we're all part of a same system. We're part of the Holy Roman Empire. We're part of the Christian church. We're part of a universal Islam, and anyone can join. You don't have to be from that particular bloodline. You can join. If you adopt those principles, you can join, right? And there's a desire to conquer the world, but for the sake of not just power, not red, but actually to spread these ideas. Alexander the Great wants to spread Hellenism, right, throughout the world. And you can become a Hellenist. You can join. So there's the capacity to join. There's the beginning of universal principles, but those universal principles are held and only understood and only interpreted by this empire, right, by this church. Now, if you don't join, you're damned to hell, right? If you don't join the Holy Roman Empire, you're a barbarian and you can be slaughtered. But there's the possibility of joining. There's a movement towards essential principles, right, from bloodline. It's the emergence of, right, the empire, right, the world religions. That's blue. And that goes, pretty much through the Renaissance, right, all the way till the Western Enlightenment. And, beginning in the Renaissance, moving to the Western Enlightenment, right, we merge into Graves Level 5, which is orange, that's the color, which is already about the individual, the separate self. The separate self has value independent of the clan, beige, Graves Level 1, of the tribe, right, Graves Level 2, purple, right, independent of the mythic membership, blue, right, the individual per se has rights. It's the beginning of universal human rights. It's the beginning of, achievement and meritocracy, independent of any empire, independent of any tribe, and independent of any organized religion. You have rights per se. And actually, we begin to extrapolate from all of the information we have in Cosmos to universal principles that are not mediated through a particular kingdom or through a particular empire or particular tribe, right? That is rational, that is achievement, right? That is the Western Enlightenment, okay? Graves Level 5. But the weakness of the Western Enlightenment was that actually this sense of universal human rights left women out and left the gay community out and left LGBT out and left Native communities out. And this notion of universal human rights pretty much applied to British men who owned land, right? So it actually left a lot of people outside of the circle. So we went then from Graves Level 5, orange, to Graves Level 6, green, which is multicultural, pluralistic, right? Honoring the indigenous, honoring the native, right? Sensitive, right, to the hidden victims, deeply sensitive to the hidden power motives that are disguised in the narratives of orange and the narratives of blue, right? Right, the earlier levels, right, blue and orange, right, they have stories, but those stories are often hiding actually red, raw power drives, right? So we become aware of those power drives. So green, postmodern, right? Think certain communities in Holland and certain communities in Boulder, Colorado, or San Francisco, or, parts of England, right? In other words, it's a universal consciousness, green, right? Multicultural, pluralistic, right? Values are relative, they're a point of view, but they're beautiful and everyone's got to be included in them. That's Graves Level 6, and it's where most of the liberal community lives today. Now, all of those are second tier. All of those are first tier. All of those are called first tier. And first tier means, now it gets really important. First tier means that you live predominantly at one of those places or even two of them. A person can be both blue and orange, right? Both part of mythic membership. Deep Catholic, completely committed, and orange, also a rational achiever. But I live at one or two of those levels of consciousness, and that's where I interpret the world from. Now, stay close. At blue, classical Catholic, for example, or Jewish or French patriot, I'm completely committed to take care of my church. And if I'm a good Catholic in Harlem, right, at a blue level of consciousness, right, I understand that I've got a commitment, I've got an obligation, I've got a responsibility to perpetuate the church. That's obvious, right? And if I'm a patriot, right, at let's say the orange level, right, I'm German or I'm French or I'm English, even though I'm not part of the church, I'm part of this nationality, but I'm committed to that nationality, right? Because I know I've got to perpetuate and I've got to go to war for it. Even though I'm a citizen of the world, I'm also a citizen of my country, and I'm committed to that, and that's a real commitment. Now, those commitments can be beautiful, but if the religion is corrupt, right, then those commitments can be corrupted. And if the nationality, right, is corrupt, then those commitments can be corrupted. So loyalty appears, devotion appears, right? My experience of God appears in a particular way at Graves level 1 when I'm in a clan. It appears in a new way, loyalty, devotion, sincerity, God, right? My experience of self, all those appear in a completely different way if I'm part of a tribe. Then they appear in a different way if I'm part of an empire or a great organized religion. And they appear in a different way if I'm, right, a citizen, right, of the world, rational, right? If I'm an achiever, right, then my experience of God's completely different. So my experience of self, my experience of God, my experience of loyalty, my experience of devotion, right, those all are completely different at every level of consciousness. All this is the first tier. This is the first tier of reality in which I live primarily in one of those levels of consciousness, okay, or in two together. The huge jump is when I go to second tier. And when I go to second tier, what I realize is that actually, number one, for the first time, I can see the spiral. What I just described was the spiral. I can actually see the spiral for the first time. And you might be a person, even if we've talked about this before, you might see it anew, or you might be seeing it for the first time. You can actually see the 6 levels. When you can actually see the 6 levels for the first time, you've jumped to second tier. Wow. Number 2, you see that all 6 of these levels live in you. You have a magic side. You have a commitment to your tribe, whether it's your religion or you might be a gang member, or it's, this radical commitment to your particular community, right? It's a real commitment to your tribe, right? You're also an achiever. You might be part of a great religion, or you might also be green pluralistic, right? You want to be completely inclusive of everyone. You actually could have, right, all of the spiral, right? Actually, you can have it all live in you, and you become aware that it's all in you. So number 1, second tier, you can see the spiral. Number 2, it all lives in you. Okay, number 3, you can elegantly, as a Jedi Knight, if you will, right, as a knight of spirit, right, as an awakened, what we call homo amor, you can actually move between levels of the spiral. So you can access your business, rational achiever side, which is about universal human rights, and it's about your own achievement, and it's about production, right, and it's about rationality. But you can also access your magical side, right, which is purple, right, in your tribal sense. And sometimes you got to access beige, which is just raw survival. At other times, right, you might be deeply committed to, right, a world religion in a particular way, right? Or you might be deeply into, right, your green, Graves level 6, indigenous, pluralistic, right, a certain kind of sensitivity, right, a certain kind of inclusiveness, right? So actually they all live in you and you can move between them. Now we get to the point, okay? So when someone asks for support, right, let's like, wow, become a member. Become a member means something particular, let's say at blue, right? Become a member of the Catholic Church, but if you don't, you're burning in hell. Become a member of the Catholic Church because if you don't, you've got no way to heaven. Become a member of the Catholic Church because we have the only way. Right? So that's one kind of membership. Or become a member at Orange of a certain kind of conformist society. Right? At Orange, we conform. We go to Wall Street. We dress in a certain way. Right? I conform. Or at Green, I might conform to being a certain kind of hippie. Right? A certain kind of hippie, new agey kind of person. I'm conforming. Right? I'm actually adopting, I'm supporting, right, that particular way of being, but I don't even realize I'm doing it. I think I'm choosing, I'm not choosing at all. So I can become a member, or let's go deeper. And this is now we're getting to the point. I can be in devotion. I can be in devotion in a different way at every level of consciousness. We've exiled devotion. We've exiled loyalty. We've exiled sacrifice. We've exiled contribution. We think those are all Graves level 4. Those are all blue, right? Or at best, they're, orange. You're committed to your company in some way, right? But when we get to green, the classical liberal place, we let go of devotion. We let go of loyalty. We think loyalty that's a lower level of consciousness. Maybe that's purple, the mafia. I'm part of a magical tribe, mafia. Right? That's where loyalty belongs. That's a mafia virtue. Devotion is for those benighted old religious people who believe in those dogmas, right? That's not me. Sincerity, no, I'm about creativity, not sincerity. Reverence, right? Reverence, that's also like blue, Graves level 4. No, that's all not true. All of those qualities live at every level of consciousness. And so we need to actually be devoted, but we need evolutionary devotion. We need commitment, but we need evolutionary commitment. We need loyalty, but we need evolutionary loyalty. We need love, but we need evolutionary love. Meaning I'm now second tier. And I'm actually experiencing that I'm waking up from Homo sapien to Homo amor. Now, each one of these is a level of consciousness. My experience of waking up, my experience of feminine values, my experience of God, my experience of loyalty, my experience of devotion, right? My experience of sincerity, right? All of those experiences are all qualities of waking up. They're all mediated through the prism of growing up, which is my level of consciousness. And in this particular model, Graves level 1, beige, Graves level 2, purple, Graves level 3, red, Graves level 4, blue, Graves level 5, orange, Graves level 6, green, right? That's all first tier. But then I jump to second tier. I can actually see the whole spiral. And I realize that I've got to wake up, and that waking up is going to be mediated through my level of consciousness. And I've got to actually synergize different dimensions of devotion and bring them all together at a higher level into evolutionary devotion. So yes, I give money, right? Of course I do. That's why that parish is still going in Harlem. Right? Because that parish in Harlem's got this level of consciousness, which is blue. But here's the key. Now here's the big, huge key. Drum roll, everyone. Here's the real key. I said 3 dimensions of second tier. Here's the 4th and the most important one. Second tier transcends and includes all the best qualities of all the previous levels. So I've got to take the best of blue and the best of red power and the best of orange achievement and the best of green pluralistic, right? And the best of purple, right? Loyalty to my family bloodline, magical, and the best of beige, raw survival. I've got to take the best of all those levels of consciousness, synergize them, integrate them into a new story, into a new level of consciousness, which is second tier. So I claim devotion, I claim contribution, I claim sacrifice, I claim commitment, together with autonomy and freedom, right? And personhood, right? And creativity. They live together at second tier. There's no way you can build one mountain, because one mountain's yours. One mountain's ours. There's no way we can build one mountain without contribution. Not going to happen. And if we think, when we start talking about contribution, that's antiquarian, right? That's regressive, right? That's the religions. That's not what we do. No, we come here and we be spiritual. No. We have no chance at this moment between dystopia and utopia. In this time between worlds, when we're holding the keys to the new source code, we're working day and night together to evolve the source code of culture and consciousness. We have zero chance of being successful unless we sacrifice, unless we are committed, and unless we're willing, right? Now, we all take a stand at the level it's comfort to us. It's never us. We're not on the line. That's the project. I support it from a distance. It doesn't really hurt me. Gives me something good, and I'm okay. And I'm loving. But I never put myself on the line, right? It's theirs. I'm in support. I'm not on the line. That's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable being on the line. I don't want to sacrifice at that level. I don't want to be committed at that level. I don't want to be devoted at that level. right? I don't want to be loyal at that level. I don't want to be sincere at that level, right? That's too much. Well, that doesn't work, right? That is a recipe for failure, right? So our devotion, we're not devoted to the teacher, right? We're not devoted to the structure of a particular, mythic organization. We're devoted to the vessel of one mountain, right? That allows us, right, to accomplish our mission, right? And we got to be radically devoted, right? I'm radically devoted. Are you? Right? I'm radically loyal, right? I want to be as sincere as I can be. Oh my God, I want to be totally sincere. I want to hold every single person here in reverence. I'm devoted, right, to every single person here. You're devoted. We're devoted, but we're devoted together to the larger vision. It's an evolutionary devotion, but it's not less real. It's not less radical than those people who kept the parish going in Harlem, even though this minister wasn't so good and that minister wasn't so good and there was this problem and that problem, but they actually showed up and they made contributions and they gave money, right? And they gave money at a level that it actually hurt, right? Actually, wow, I'm actually going to impact my life. I'm not going to make this sanitized convenient, right? None of us, we want to be comfortable. We don't, a guy named, I think his name was Todd Slater, talked about the toilet assumption of the Western world, right? Anything that's kind of like manure, right? Instead of letting it fertilize, we flush it down out of the way, right? We don't want in our face, right? We don't want the challenges in our face of what it takes to fertilize and grow the new world. But that's like, whoa, that's too much. We flush that away. We want to be comfortable. We want to be safe. We want to be, sanitized. But friends, that's not how it works. It's agony and ecstasy. It's wonder and radical amazement, right? It's not just about my self-development. It's not just about where I am, right? There's only one question we ever have to answer. And I'll finish with this, with your permission, everyone. What does reality need from me at the next moment, right? And what it needs from me is not just my next experience, and not just my next high, and not just my next state of consciousness, not just my next experience of waking up, not just my next devotion to a mythic God at the Graves Level 4 Blue as part of my local church or local synagogue. No, reality needs me to be in service to the field of evolution itself. And I'm animated by outrageous love. Outrageous love is evolutionary love. And I'm animated by evolutionary devotion, by evolutionary commitment, by evolutionary sacrifice, right? And none of that, right, obfuscates my freedom. But my freedom is not freedom to do whatever I want. It's not my life. It's not your life. Why do you think it's your life? It's not my life. Did you choose when to be born? Did you choose to whom to be born? Did you choose where to be born? Why would you think it's your life? Not my life. It's our life. It's our life together, right? You can't be sitting in a boat saying, I'm going to drill a hole under my part of the boat because it's my part of the boat. We're in this boat together. We need each other. And it's our life. And we're in service to the whole. Right? Wow. And when we're in service to the whole, then we individuate in our unique self. Then we're fulfilled. Right? Then our wake up is mediated through the highest possible stage of consciousness, a radical growing up as a unique self, participating in unique self symphony, omniconsiderate, madly in love, right, for the sake of the whole. Right? Oh my God. Right? Thank you, right? That's what we're trying to do. Right? That's our goal. That's our vision. And that's why we ask for contribution. We ask for contribution, right? Because we have to include that level of loyalty and devotion that Graves Level 4 Blue knew, the utter commitment to the local parish. We got to be much more than that, but we can never be less than that. Oh my God. Claire, I turn to you, right? As we're about to finish, Claire, right? Oh my God, right? Dharma circle, yes. Yes. Thank you.
Mark, thank you. What a beautiful discernment, and I'm just blown away. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and so friends, I want to invite you to the Dharma Circle to join this teaching at a deeper level, to come and practice with us and to really allow yourself to feel more deeply into what Mark is inviting us. Through the Dharma Circle, we actually bring this home in practice together. So as Mark said, it's not just about practicing to grow up as an individual, but we learn to grow up together. We really practice as a field, and we tap into that field, and that field supports us. So it's really a beautiful core structure of that we have to offer all of you to deepen this Dharma and to bring it into the very fabric of your life, and to actually get a taste of what it means to be together in this. We have the festival every summer, and that's only a week. So the Dharma Circle is a way to continue this building of the field together. And you're really invited to join. We started 2 weeks ago with a beautiful teaching with Dr. Mark. We had a beautiful practice session last week. We decided to keep our doors open for a few more weeks. So if you decide to join, you'll just blend in and catch the train. You'll only have to listen to 2 recordings, and you'll be able to dive in. We are open until November 10, but I really invite you to join even, as fast as you can, so that you can enter our online circle and start to feel into this field that is starting. So find your way. If you have any questions, find me, and I hope to see you there. And I think I'm handing it over to Krista.
Yes, thank you, Claire. Thank you. This is the end of our awesome gathering this week. And we always end by bringing on our beautiful faces into a unique self symphony, and we dance it out. So let's dance from this first tier to this second tier together and feel this next level of consciousness awakening in our bodies. And we do that by bringing everyone on. Technically, that means we bring you on as a panelist. So you will get an invitation popping up. Please press OK, turn on your camera so we can see each other. Put yourself on gallery view and let's dance it out together. Christina, please take it away with How Deep Is Your Love?
I want you to breathe me in. Let me be your air.